Greetings from Mexico and welcome back to my channel. So in my last Brittney Griner video, I got really heated and I said that I don't care if she was traded for Satan himself. I just want her back home. Now, I probably went overboard with that statement, but I was just trying to respond to some rednecks and right-wingers who were complaining about Brittney being traded for this arms dealer. They don't realize how many arms dealers there are out there. Just because they hear the nickname Merchant of Death, they get all scared. Republicans, right-wingers, they are so afraid of everything. These guys are so afraid. Whatever the media puts out there, they get all scared. But I was really heated in that video. And you can check it out. I have like 6 or 7 different videos on Brittney Griner since she was first arrested. And this will be number 8, I guess. This is an update from the Banner News, it says. Banner News. By the way, do you realize that mostly all news stories, national and world news, that you consume comes from pretty much 2 sources, Reuters and in this case, the Associated Press? Just wanted to toss that out there in case you didn't know. Okay, the article reads in part, the return of Brittney Griner to the United States in a dramatic prisoner swap with Russia marked the culmination of a 10-month ordeal that captivated world attention. A saga that landed at the intersection of sports, politics, race, gender identity, and wartime diplomacy. The article goes on to say, Griner had for years been known to fans of women's basketball, College Player of the Year, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and WNBA All-Star who dominated her sport. But her arrest on drug-related charges at a Moscow airport in February elevated her profile in ways neither she nor her supporters would have ever hoped for, making her by far the most high-profile American to be jailed abroad. Quote, I think her celebrity and the coinciding with the time of the invasion of Ukraine, those 2 points together is what made her case national news, international news. But I also think it made it feel much more fraught than in a lot earlier cases of Americans being detained in Russia. Okay, the article reads further. After months of strained negotiations and an extraordinarily public rare revelation by the Biden administration that it had made a, quote, substantial proposal to get Griner home and another detained American, Paul Whelan, the case was resolved last week with a prisoner swap in which the WNBA star was exchanged in the United Arab Emirates for Russian's arms dealer Victor Bout. And that's where I had that heated exchange in my last video with these rednecks and with these right-wingers about this exchange, because for some reason they think that Victor Bout is the only arms dealer in the world. Do you realize how many arms dealers there are? And let's not pretend, let's not BS ourselves and think that race played no role in the way these right-wingers responded to Brittney's release. These right-wingers, these rednecks, they know that they want Paul Whelan back, this so-called ex-Marine who was arrested on espionage charges, who I told you in a previous video arrived in Russia with $80,000 in cash. Who does that? Well, one of the comments on my video said that it's common for people to arrive in Russia with a lot of cash. Yeah. Okay, the article reads on, the deal grew criticism from some prominent Republicans who lamented that the U.S. had not gotten Whelan home and who complained that the administration had given up a convicted felon as notorious as Bout. Administration officials, for their part, conceded that such prisoner swaps can carry a heavy price, but also said it was unacceptable for Griner to remain locked up. And that tells me that Whelan was definitely working for the government. I had one commenter say that since he was discharged dishonorably from the Marines years ago, He is working for a corporation, so he's not a government spy. He's a corporate spy. Whatever. Like I said in my previous video, corporate spy, government spy, it doesn't matter. If a foreign country catches you, that's your ass. Everybody with common sense knows that when Brittney was arrested for these vape cartridges and sentenced to 9 years, that the punishment exceeded the crime. I said in an earlier video that Russia is using Brittney as leverage with the U.S. government. Reading on, quote, "We try to pay, of course, as little price as possible," end quote, a senior Biden administration told reporters last week on condition of anonymity under ground rules set by the White House. Quote, "But ultimately, we feel there is a moral obligation, frankly, as well as a policy obligation to bring people who are being held hostage or wrongfully detained home." Interesting that they spoke on anonymity. Okay, skipping ahead in the article. She was greeted last week by the Special President Envoy for Hostage Affairs, Roger Carstens, who traveled to bring her back to the U.S. Her first stop was a military base in Texas. Carstens said in an interview with CNN that he offered Griner some space to decompress on the plane, but that she said, quote, "I have been in prison for 10 months now, listening to Russian. I want to talk." You know, I think I would have said the exact same thing. Roger Carstens goes on to say that I was left with the impression that this is an intelligent, passionate, compassionate, humble, interesting person, a patriotic person, Carstens said, but above all, authentic. I hate the fact that I had to meet her in this manner, but I actually felt blessed having had a chance to get to know her. And the article finishes by saying, now that she's back in the U.S., Griner plans to be out of the public spotlight for a while, spending time with her wife. No longer just a generational women's basketball player, Griner is standing at a much larger crossroad. So in closing, and at the risk of being messy, I just want the LGBT community to know, I see you. You were not there for her. Her community was there for her. People like me was there for her. People like me was sounding the alarm ever since this whole drama first started. So do not pretend that you want to rally around Brittney now that she is back. You weren't there for her. With your resources and with your power, you could have been making waves with Biden and his administration long ago. It is Black Americans who kept this story in the spotlight all this time. Black Americans who leaned on the Biden administration to do something about it. Like I said in a previous video, I had little hope that Biden would do anything because he, like most Democrats, are weak on foreign policy. And I also said in a previous video that Trump would have been our best hope in getting Brittney back because Trump and Putin are buds. So am I happy that Biden brought Brittney back home? Of course. I'm always happy to see a sister free living her life. But I want the LGBT community out there to know that I see you and I see through you. To all of you Black feminists out there, this is not your fight. You need to support each other in our community. Feminism is not your fight. Do you understand? So if you haven't already subscribed, consider doing so and hit like and share on your social media. Also, remember to enable alerts. That's very important. It helps a channel like mine grow. Talk to you soon. Cheers.